So, CEO of Tysers, but I think importantly the self-elected Chief Data Officer of Tysers, because I fundamentally believe data is so important to our journey over the next few years to transition to the modern business we need to be, and so therefore data is at the heart of our thinking strategically. We're on a journey and it's going to take several years, but we're starting from the basis, we've got to get the basics in place. And I think of any digital process, there's three basics for me. One is data, the second is connectivity, the third is usability. So data, connectivity, usability. So we're starting at the very beginning of the process and saying we need to get some core data at the beginning that we can then drive right through the process, and using connectivity to do that. So we've started early releases, we've got the first couple of releases out now of a platform we call T-Connect, and that's Tysers Connectivity. So T-Connect is for connectivity because it's a connectivity platform, and that's enabling us to capture data at the front end and then automatically or digitally take that data and put it into our back end, into our IBA accounting engine. And what we've done over the last year is take that IBA accounting engine, which was a relatively closed system, and expose it with more than 60 APIs that we've built with the supplier to do that. So that allows us to take that data and put it into the back end automatically through those APIs. And we've done it in a way where the usability is important to try and make sure that it doesn't become a burdensome process at the front end to capture that. You know, it's really important because the brokers are key to this process, and unless they really are inspired to use it or believe there's something in it for them, or it doesn't make it more difficult for them, they're not going to use it. So the usability is really important. And I liken it to the days of internet banking when it started, is that the old process, of course, of filling forms in, and then they went into the back office and then they were wrong and they had to come back again. What we're trying to say is, and now if you use your banking app, you know, everyone says it's actually much easier. I can do it myself, I can do it anywhere, anytime. And people don't see it as burdensome. And we need to be at the same place where capturing that data at the front end with the brokers helping to do that is seen as a easy way of doing business, but allows us then to move it into the back office with an irrefutable data record, really clear with Blueprint 2, that's what we're trying to do. And so we can use that one data record that's captured at the beginning and goes through right to the end in an end-to-end process with the usability. So to summarize, the journey we're on is working really hard on data, building a connectivity platform, and making sure we're building in aspects to make it usable. So data, connectivity, usability is key for us in digitizing our business. I can't emphasize enough this is a journey. It will take several years, and we're starting with those basics, but also we're starting with our North American P&C business and our marine business. And both of those businesses put their hands up and said, we want to be part of this, because they really understand why this is so important, why this is important to get these processes in place that are easier to use, but importantly will allow connectivity upstream to our customers, downstream to our markets, and enable a more efficient business. And I think the brokers in those areas really understand that. Now the challenge, of course, is to make it usable enough that means they really want to use it, and that's part of the adoption journey. If we get that, then I think adoption will come, and it'll come over time. And the next big thing we need to then say, once we've got that basic connectivity and process in place, is how do we then connect to the placing platforms? That's the next big change. So we're not there, but we're keeping a weather eye on the placing platforms, PPL, Whitespace, etc., and what we need to do. We're convinced it'll be, from our point of view, it'll be an API integration. So we're going to integrate from our connectivity platform into and out of those placing platforms. Because what I really want is to have that irrefutable data record at the point of bind, to create the technical account. Because I don't want to do technical accounting. I want that technical account to be provided for me such that we can use it and connect that into our accounting engine. I don't want to create the technical account. I want that to be created for me. And that will make a huge difference to the efficiency of our back office if we can achieve that. The journey we're on at Tysers is very similar to the Blueprint 2 journey. Again, it comes back to this, getting the data right, getting the connectivity right, creating end-to-end processes. We're just doing it in a mini version internally at the moment. The big question is, how do we then connect into the different parts of Blueprint 2 when they come on stream? Because it will be a lot bigger than our internal journey that we're on at the moment. It'll be about how do we then connect to the marketplace, connect to placing platforms, connecting to Lloyd's, etc. Why am I optimistic about the future and the adoption of new technologies and new ways of doing things? Because I think it's been quite a transformational 18 months. We've obviously had lockdown that's forced a lot of people to work remotely, but most of my brokers are brilliant now on Teams and virtual working, and they always traditionally were great with their phones and all the different apps. And if you combine those two things together, all we're talking about is the next generation of how we when we bring these platforms to market. As long as we incorporate them in a way that they become part of the daily lives of our broking teams, I'm optimistic that we can get the adoption over the next couple of years. So I think this modernisation of our practices and the way we do things is inevitable and essential actually to be competitive into the future. I think people get that. The only question is how do we get there and at what time frame, and making sure we do it in a way where people have enough chance to change, adapt and really enjoy, quite frankly. Because if you go back to the banking example, no one now questions doing banking on their phone or internet banking. It's just a normal part of the way we do things. When it first started, it was, well, why am I doing the work? Why isn't the bank doing it, etc.? What if I get it wrong, etc.? So we'll be there in 3 or 4 years' time, where people just, it's a normal part of doing business the way we do. The key thing is to get that adoption cycle right, make sure it's usable, as I've said, and bring people along the journey. In my view, the adoption for the front-end users, the brokers, the underwriters, is usability. I passionately believe that the people in the market are far more digital savvy than we often give them credit for. So it's not about being digital, it's about, are these things usable? Do they incorporate into their daily lives when they're in the room, travelling, in the office, having face-to-face conversations at home? Do they enable the brokers and the underwriters to use these efficiently? They become part of the daily lives, much like the apps on the phones have become part of the daily lives of all of us. So if we can achieve that in the rollout of Blueprint 2, I think adoption will happen naturally.